Fred, what was it like firing Carlos? What was that conversation like?
Mike Elliott's now going to be DiCaprio with the popcorn meme. Oh my God, he is precious baby angel. George is only a psycho on the radio.
Exactly.
Alonso's a psycho 24/7. Wow, he would really be the Forrest Gump of F1 if he did. Vasha Brangas.
Hello, Vengas.
How is everybody doing?
How are you doing? How are these fucking cars looking, baby? Everyone's getting ready. We're seeing the cars. Has anyone else become a little aero expert this week? Has anyone else looked at these side pods and thought, I like these more than the others, and no, it's actually, the push rod and the rear suspension should increase the aerodynamic properties, and it's all actually in there, and the engine covering with the with those bulges,
that vertical intake.
That vertical intake. Wow, that's interesting. Wow, harkening back to the Schumacher era there. Pretty interesting coming there from Red Bull. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to this week. I'm gonna attempt,
Brian. Yeah. I've tried to do that 20 times. I was like, no. I'm really gonna dig in.
Yeah,
I had 2,000 false starts with that. No, Matt. You actually pay your rent with this, so you actually have to. This is important that you understand these things.
Yeah,
and every single time couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know, don't care.
I know.
I just hear, remember our lame-ass physics teacher? I just hear his fucking voice.
Yeah.
And I just tune out.
I know. It's really hard. It's really hard to focus for like a full one of those videos and to really kind of get in there and really understand what the fuck.
And you know what? None of the guys who ever explain it ever have any riz at all.
Yeah. Right.
They're all exactly how you expect them to be.
I know.
Like, at least that's why Sam Collins is the shit.
Exactly.
Sam Collins is a shit because he explains his shit and he's got like some serious riz.
Right.
And he's got some energy. Like, these guys don't even seem excited explaining this shit to you. They're like, well, actually, in the fuel intake, I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Are you here? Are you a hostage? Explain this to me? Like, at gunpoint? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're using an overbite instead of the underbite. That will be interesting to see how that plays out this year.
It's like, you're supposed to be entertaining us and like making us interested in the subject.
Right. It's
Jesus. You're bored with your own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean,
it's so horrible.
There's a lot of that, and what's crazy is that like there is really interesting shit in there, but the delivery system with which we get it is fucking dry as hell. Then on the other side of the coin, we have Charles Leclerc releasing a fucking EP and putting out a whole little vlog about his process. So the complete other side of the fucking coin, all pointed in together this week for this episode. But before we get into the episode, before we even get into our daddies of the pod, babies, we're doing a live show. We're doing a live show in New York City. We were a little bit late to the game because sometimes it's a little hard to lock down the specifics. But we're doing a live show in New York City, March 2nd at 7 p.m. at Chelsea Music Hall. We are recapping the Bahrain Grand Prix. The race is on at 10 a.m. Our show's at 7 p.m. This is on Saturday. There's a few Saturday races, so spend your Saturday night with us in New York City. Don't be a fucking vanker.
Shut-in loser.
Yeah, don't be a shut-in loser. Be
it's
a fucking
Saturday.
rock star.
It's gonna be a Saturday night. It's gonna be Saturday night. Our audience is co-ed.
Yeah,
you might fucking get your nut at this thing.
Find the love of your life at Valentine's. Hey, did you have a lonely Valentine's Day? Well, guess what? Come find love at the Red Flags fucking show, baby. Yeah, it's and we also have our sexy new merch line, baby. You've seen us posting about it all over, but yeah, we have our new merch. It's fucking rock and motherfucking roll. Huge shout out to Robin and Alex for their incredible designs. We shouted them out on our stories the other day, but go follow them at Formula Goth on Instagram for Alex, and then _RVicta. _RVicta. We'll put the fucking links in the thing. But yeah, huge thanks to them. And yeah, I'm feeling really sexy about our merch. Our merch is rock and motherfucking roll. Let's get into it. So, Matt, if you will indulge me, I'm going to attempt to talk about Aero on this program.
Okay, and I will attempt to stay awake.
Okay, I'm really only going to talk about the top 4 teams here, because what's happening at the bottom is like kind of whatever.
Well, can we start with Red Bull? That's the most interesting one.
Yeah, so here's what's fascinating. There's a few things. Everyone's trying to copy the Red Bull designs, right?
This is the only thing that I think is funny.
Everyone's trying to copy the Red Bull designs. Mercs come in. They're pushing the seat 10 centimeters further back because it was too far forward. Lewis felt like the car was too far forward. They're putting a push rod in the rear because that helps.
Don't they wish they could push that car forward again now that he's leaving?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're putting in anti-squat elements. They're all doing the thing where Red Bull did, where in the front they had basically like the nose connected to the third of the 4 rear wing, like the front wing elements, so that there's actually like a little hole, an area for some aero to go underneath the car. So all the cars, for the most part, are doing that now, which is what Red Bull did in the past. And what Red Bull did was like, Red Bull said, actually...
Reverse!
Yeah. Throwback! We're throwing it back to what Mercedes did at the beginning of this whole fucking thing, before they even changed it. Red Bull came in. Adrian Newey just said... Let's just spice it up. Let's just fucking throw a spanner into the works, as they would say. And yeah, the front nose is touching all the way to the bottom of the front wing. And also, they're doing vertical fucking what do you even literally call it? On the side pods.
They're like mail slot, like inlets or whatever.
The letterbox was the super horizontal, right? It was horizontal and it was super thin.
Intake.
The intake. It was horizontal and super thin, and that's what every team is doing now. They got these like long, thin, like a mailbox, like a letterbox. That's how the air is going into the side pods, and everyone's side pods looks like Red Bulls. And also they have like what they call the underbite, so that it juts out from the bottom, and that's how the air goes in. Red Bull goes, actually, we're going from the top. So we're going to have an overbite, and we're going to have a vertical fucking intake, an inlet, which is what Mercedes initially had in their zero side pod.
And they got the shoulder pads. And
the biggest thing is the shoulder pads. Exactly.
That's what they're calling them. Looking like Grace Jones out there with the fucking shoulder pads.
Literally looking like Grace Jones. Exactly.
I mean, what a troll move. It's like Mercedes comes out, humiliates themselves with the zero side pod concept. Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone's like, this is the dumbest move of all time.
Yeah.
And then Adrian Newey looks at it and goes, what if we did the exact... And then they're all trying to copy Red Bull, and it's like, what if we copied them but did it not stupid?
Yes.
What a troll move if they beat Mercedes with their own design.
Right.
After they've abandoned it.
Yes.
And then Mike Elliott's now going to be the guy. He's going to be DiCaprio with the popcorn meme. Like pointing at the TV, be like, that's my design. That's my fucking design. I told them it would work. I fucking told them. They didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
They just promoted me out of existence. It's like... in their dumb, bureaucratic, Kafka-esque fucking way, they promoted him out of a job, basically.
Yes. Because he just wants to spend more time with his family. He just wants, come on, that's why. It's not because he completely dropped the ball and fucked us for 3 years on this shitty design that he had. It would be incredible.
That'd be a WWE move if then Mike Elliott just showed up in the Red Bull garage and he's wearing the Red Bull. Oh, shit! It's Mike Elliott! He designed the car!
Right. Well, what I'm also starting to gather around like this era of aero is that so much of it, as much as it's about the aero on the car, it's about keeping the level, like it's about keeping the car level to the ground at the same height at all times, so that the ground effects is really where the meat and potatoes of this fucking thing really is underneath the car, which we haven't been able to see any of that. None of the teams are showing that, obviously. The only time we'll be able to see that is when fucking Logan Sargent dings it into the barriers and they crane his car out of there, or Perez did it in Monaco or whatever it is, and everyone can come and snap a couple Kim Illman can get in there and fucking snap a couple shots. Obviously Jenny's fitted sheet idea still being not utilized by these teams. But anyway, so much of it is about like the suspension. It's the inner workings. It's the shit that you don't see that keeps the car level. That's what the anti-dive and anti-squat, you're hearing a lot of talk around that, which is basically like how the rear and the front of the cars are basically like when you brake and all the fucking pressure goes onto the nose, like does the nose completely dive into the pavement, or does it kind of hold up through whatever rigmarole they fucking put in there to make sure that it stays even? That's where a lot of it really fucking comes from. So there is a world where actually the no side pod thing could fucking work.
Wait, why does the no side pod work with that?
Because part of what was the issue with the no side, remember all the porpoising, the no side pod, it was like, maybe it was the fact that like their suspension was fucked. So they were porpoising so much because the car was unstable in a suspension manner. And then if you actually have the suspension shit right, then maybe the no side pod thing fucking works. Because there are rumors that Red Bull, now, rumors, but there's rumors that Red Bull is going to attempt to adopt a zero side pod design reminiscent of the Mercedes at some point in the 2024 season.
Oh, that would be so beautiful.
Which would be great.
That would be so beautiful.
Anyway,
there's that. I saw a TikTok of that sound of Will Ferrell being like, "I'm so fucking scared right now." You remember that?
Uh-huh.
There's that sound where and it's like just Newey just looking at the opponent's car,
right,
with his notebook. That was him like looking at the Mercedes, just being like, "How can I do this but better?"
Now, here's what's crazy about this is that like it's a super bold move from Newey here. Like it's not just a continuation of the car. It's not like we had the thing. It's like, no, we're going for like an extreme design, and I think there is maybe a world.
It's a risk.
It's a risk.
There's a world in which they don't nail it.
Yes.
And that, at least in the beginning of the season, I think.
Yes.
Leaves them open.
Opens the door. Yeah.
Opens the door, at least in the beginning, and then maybe they'll tighten it up. I think there's two scenarios, right?
Right.
It's kind of a disaster out of the gate, and then well, I think they'd have to be pretty confident because I think this is the last year of the regulation set. So it's not like they'll have next year to fix it, right?
No,
is this year the last year or no?
Next? No, they'll have next year.
Oh,
2025 is the last year.
So yeah, I think next year it's either like this will be an off year and it'll be close, and then they'll just completely wreck everyone next year,
right?
Because they're so ahead. They'll have done like what the McLaren did, right? Is they'll have like made a violent change. Right. Have to like take, and then it'll take like half a season to hook it up.
Right.
And there'll be some growing pains with that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean,
yeah, McLaren's design, it's pretty similar from theirs from last year. They are also doing an overbite on the entry to the side pods, similar to what Red Bull has done. So Red Bull and McLaren, I believe, are the only ones using an overbite of that entry to the side pod. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, because the Merc car is like very different. They're using a push rod in the rear, which is what they weren't using before. The thing that's actually really interesting to me about the Merc design is the front wing is using like you have to have like four little parts of the front wing, right? And they all have to connect to the nose. And basically, like, the Merc, the top part of the front wing, they basically, like, cut it in half, and they just have, like, a little rod connecting it to the nose. They basically just like cut part of the front wing in half, which like we'll see what the legality of that is. Like they're kind of saying that's like it's a clever way around the rules because it does technically connect to the front wing, but it's like it is a kind of, and that I was like, that's fucking interesting. That's a bold move there.
Well, it's smart if it's allowed. It might give them an advantage if it's allowed.
Right. Exactly. And then if it is allowed,
it'll either be banned or it'll be allowed, and then the other teams everyone will get it, but Mercedes might get an advantage for a couple of races, maybe. Yeah,
exactly. Now, what's interesting about Ferrari, because I'm really, the ones that I've kind of actually looked into are just the top 4 here. Ferrari has done the only thing, every other, basically what they've deemed is that the push rod in the rear is like the best setup that you can have because it gives more leverage in terms of the car not like hitting the pavement, bottoming out. And also it can help with the aero. It brings everything a bit tighter in the rear. It can help with the aero in terms of like getting into the diffuser and getting into the rear wing. Ferrari has said their shit isn't set up. I disagree. Yes, they've said, I disagree. And they have a pull rod in the rear. Now, they and Haas are the only two that have the pull rod in the rear. Sauber actually has refitted their fucking their gearbox to allow a push rod because they're like, this is actually fucked. The pull rod is like not it, fam. But Ferrari has basically said, like, no, it's too much of a fucking headache. It's not even that. Doesn't make that much of a difference. So Ferrari and Haas are the only two that are going to have this pull rod in the rear. We'll see what the fuck that.
I was feeling good about it till you said Ferrari and Haas, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, from my understanding, push rod, pull rod, one is not inherently better than the other. It just depends on what's your setup and how it works for you.
Totally.
What makes you most comfortable. So,
and that's Ferrari's argument is that like that doesn't make that much of a difference actually in reality.
Right. But what is interesting is that back to the Red Bull thing is that Newey has been very much being like, we didn't go far enough. He's really managing expectations in an interesting way. Yeah. I mean, the gamesmanship with this stuff is really interesting. Stello has been managing expectations a lot. Does anybody ever come out and be like, we're about to kick the shit out of everybody?
No.
Nobody ever does that. So it's like really hard to interpret.
Right.
Although McLaren last year was like, we're going to suck and then we're going to be good in the middle. Yeah. Like they said, we found something in the wind tunnel in the middle of the year. We made an adjustment. We're going to suck, but we're going to hook it up in the middle of the year. And that's exactly what they did. So,
and Laurent,
Stella said exactly like we made 80% of the changes we wanted to make and the rest will make mid-season.
Right. When we talked to Laurent though, when we talked to Laurent, Mekis, he was saying like, don't expect anything, don't expect that much from us in the beginning of the year, but like come midway, like we should have our stuff together. I think that's an aspect of what a lot of the teams do, but I think that your point around McLaren, I think like in those early races, it might be that's like this is McLaren's opportunity for potentially to make some inroads and to have that early when Charles and Max were going back and forth kind of thing, because maybe with Red Bull's this bold new design, there might be some hiccups there. They might be a little bit slow on the uptake. In terms of like figuring that all out,
ironing out the kinks,
which also happened in the Mercedes years, I think in 2018 when like Mercedes was still like in their dominance, like in the early parts of those seasons, like Vettel was winning races, like in Melbourne he was winning those races because the beginning of the season is still a time where you're still figuring your shit out.
You put out the most basic version of the car, and then you slowly refine it.
Yeah,
like I guess maybe I'm completely talking out of my ass here, but the first car you put out is like almost like your control. Yeah, and then you're like, and then you kind of because you can almost see it throughout the season. It's like the first car you put out is like versus like the last car you put out. Like the designs are so much more radical. Like they they just turn whatever design they have to 11 because they're they keep ramping up whatever concept they have. Like everything is just more exaggerated.
Right.
They just slowly enhance whatever it is that they're doing.
It would be so crazy.
That's all I have to say about that.
It just would be so crazy if, like, halfway through the season, Nui was like, "No side pods, get him out of here." That would be fucking crazy.
Or the side pods were just a Trojan horse and they just remove them before the race.
Right.
The side pods that they did have, those were all just a fake out.
Well, I was wondering, like, when Red Bull kind of came out with some of these, like, even like the front wing touching the bottom, the nose touching the bottom of the front wing. I was like, are they just doing that to just like throw some shit off? But then like because they did the stuff at Silverstone, McLaren, and I think McLaren, a bunch of the teams were there driving on track, and like the clips from that I've seen. The front nose touching all the way down to the bottom. So like that's now, like they're sticking with that, at least for the time being.
Even if this Red Bull thing doesn't work, can you imagine this period of time, like those engineers who have been working their asses off to copy Red Bull, and then Red Bull's not even doing it. There are Red Bulls like, oh, that was so last season, honey.
Right.
Yeah, it's like no. Cargo pants are in now.
Yeah.
You know, they're just out with cargo pants.
Adrian Newey, dude, just living rent free in the heads of every other CTO on the fucking grid.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, and speaking of Red Bull, it's the ongoing situation with Christian, this investigation that's going on. They were thinking that maybe it would be done and settled before the car launch. That was not the case. Christian is still in his post, so he was at the Red Bull car launch, which was, I think, surprising to a lot of people. He was answering questions. He answered questions around the thing. It's all very, I can't talk about this, I can't talk about that. Now, Ford put out a statement saying, they said, as a family company that holds itself to very high standards of behavior and integrity, we expect the same from our partners. So there is an element of Ford putting a pressure of their relationship with them, kind of putting that in there. And then from F1, there is a push to try to get this resolved quickly, and hopefully with that, there will be transparency in terms of like exactly what happened, so we can have all of the understandings of the situation. So maybe that'll happen this week. This comes out on Monday. We're recording this on Sunday the 18th. But that's still the situation there, and we will continue to watch this space, but we'll see, and we'll hopefully get some answers soon. Sometimes these Red Bull launches, it's just the same car with the same thing. There was a lot to talk about there aerodynamically, and I think also within the other cars, getting now back to the aero and what the cars are bringing, the Mercedes car actually kind of interesting. I was pretty down on Merc. I was like, Merc's not gonna fucking, but I don't know. Seeing aspects of this design, it was just a gut feeling because I don't know fucking shit, obviously. But I was like, oh damn, this shit might actually slap. Like the Merc might actually kind of have figured some shit out.
Then why did Lewis leave, I guess is my question. That's
I know.
That's sort of nagging at my back of my head.
When Ferrari's like, we're sticking with the pull rod, baby, in the rear. Like, come on, baby. It's like, what's happening there? I don't.
I trust Lewis more than I trust, some fucking asshole on YouTube.
I know.
I mean, Lewis actually got in the car, was in the simulator.
Right.
Could kind of got a vibe check of all the engineers being like, no, it's good. I was like, Fred?
Yeah. Well, they only moved his seat 10 centimeters back, and he was like, I'm going to need a little more movement than that. 10 centimeters.
I'm going to need a movement. The movement I'm going to need is all the way to Italy.
All the way to Maranello, baby. Well, speaking of Lewis's replacement, because obviously that, it's been a big topic of conversation. It's looking more and more like the options that are happening at Mercedes are Kimi Antonelli, the babyface killer, or the fucking Grim Reaper, Fernando Alonso. It is looking
Alonso.
it is looking like that is what's really the options that are happening over here at Mercedes.
What
Yeah,
news supports that theory?
Well, Flavio Briatore, the fucking legend of legends.
I forgot that he's his manager.
He's
that's the
his
best
fucking
team.
manager. Flavio, who is fucking Fernando Alonso's manager, who I'm looking on his Instagram right now, and he's in Africa on safari, crushing.
Hell yeah.
But on 6 days ago, when I don't even know, a week ago, he posted a picture of him at a cafe with none other than the Toto Wolff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Monaco.
Yeah.
In Monaco, at a cafe with Toto Wolff, threw it on the gram. Said, "I'm throwing it on the gram." What do you think they talked about? You think Fernando Alonso didn't fucking come
Boats,
up?
tax havens. I don't know. Rich guy shit.
Greenhouse gases, maybe. You think they talked about that? No, I think they talked about, Fernando Alonso going to the Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula One team. I think that was a topic of discussion there. And it seems like, because I think logically, it's either you get another guy who's like at a top level, or you're committing to the future greatness. Right? You don't get a Carlos Sainz, an Alex Albon. You don't, if you're gonna, right? These are the smart choices.
No, you get an Alex Albon or a Carlos Sainz if you trust George Russell.
Right, which you shouldn't. And as much as Toto says that he does, like, I don't think that he really does.
Right. If you think George Russell's your guy, then you get Carlos Sainz, or you get Alex Albon, or even an Ocon, or doesn't really matter. Like I think those guys are all within the same sort of within 5 points out of 100 of each other.
Right.
So,
but if you could have gotten a Charles, or if you could have gotten a Lando, then maybe you do that. But they're tied up because there's those teams locked them down. Even an Oscar is an interesting option of a person. But
well, if you put Oscar in there, then it's like, what's your plan even? Because now you have two youngish guys and a third young guy coming through.
Right. No, that's the thing. It's like you either and we'll see how Antonelli does in F2 this year. We're going to be covering that. We're going to be watching that. There does seem to be there's a fucking vibe around this kid that like he is the fucking he's the next great.
I think they're gonna put him at Williams. I don't think there's a.
I'm just saying it would be a bold fucking move for them to put him in Merc right out the gate.
Maybe it's just my confirmation. Maybe it's just like confirmation bias, but like or just wishful thinking. But I really think that they're going to go for Alonso because he's going to help them maximize that car right away.
Yep.
He's going to bring fanfare. He's going to bring excitement to the team. Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon, Alex Albon. It's not going to bring that star power.
Yeah.
That Alonso and excitement that Alonso is going to bring.
Yeah.
I know there are people on Instagram and TikTok that disagree with me. No, Alex Albon's a star.
Yeah.
He's bae, but he doesn't. I mean, Alonso is a fucking.
Right.
He's a star.
Yeah. Did you hear Alonso's quote about how he can race till he's 50 years old?
Yeah, that's very interesting that came out because he's like, oh, no. Like, he's like, maybe, yeah, with Aston Martin, he's like, yeah, 1, maybe 2 more years. But all of a sudden he's like, no, I can go for forever, basically. I'm immortal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He's my favorite person that's ever lived.
He said, Alonso said that he has been exceeding expectations in his preseason preparations, which makes him think he could race on as far as to the age 50. For the future and keeping racing, a few years ago, I would say that maybe 42 or 41 was the limit, said Alonso. Now, after I saw myself last year, motivated and performing well, I was thinking maybe that I could keep racing for a few more years. Now this winter, I have been exceeding a little bit of expectations in terms of all the physical tests and everything that I did. So I will say that if you are motivated and if you want to commit, you can maybe drive until 48, 49, or whatever, maybe even 50. I mean...
If you are motivated, that's the key word. If there's a Mercedes seat.
That's right. Exactly.
Wow, he would really be the Forrest Gump of F1 if he did. He did Renault twice, McLaren twice.
Yep.
Ferrari once.
Yep.
Aston Martin.
Yep.
And the Mercedes. Only thing. It's the only good. And he's won it almost none of them. He won at Renault.
The irony that the where he won was at Renault is crazy.
Renault,
it just doesn't make sense.
Well, he won races at Ferrari, and he got fucking tragically close.
Yes,
but,
no, we've all seen the him in the helmet,
the meme,
staring blankly as his dreams are fucking taken away from him. Fucking crazy. Yeah, DRS is in there because Fernando Alonso should have won. That's why the DRS is in there.
Fernando Alonso should easily have 9 titles.
Yeah, he's just fucking...
No, but, it's a question of does Mercedes want to deal with that, too,
Right. Yeah.
He's going to be a fucking headache.
He's not really like a Mercedes man, right? It's like Mercedes kind of has the like... It's all very, we toe the company line, we say the right stuff, we don't, it's not GP2 engine vibes.
No, they're well, George gets out of line occasionally. He's like George on steroids.
Right.
Here's the thing, is George at least buttons up. George is only a psycho on the radio.
Right. Exactly.
Alonso's a psycho 24/7.
All the time.
George, that's what I love. That's what I love about George is a psycho on the radio, and then he'll get off and be like, "Oh, jolly good show we had today."
Yeah.
Love Mercedes, love Lewis. Whereas Alonso has just been a psycho his whole life. He just has like out of pocket shit.
Right.
Like, I was reading this thing about Schumacher recently.
Yeah.
When Alonso was a rookie. He was saying the wildest shit about Schumacher. Just being like, oh, the FIA is in his pocket. Ferrari is in his pocket. FIA just blows Ferrari. Neither of them. He was doing the British bias thing about Ferrari back in the day. Right. It's bias. British bias against Ferrari, against me. Everybody hates me. He's been doing this shit since day dot.
Since day dot, darling.
Incredible. And by the way, Jean Todt said he would never hire him, and then they ended up hiring. Ferrari would never hire him.
Yeah, well, those
because he was supposed to be a test driver for Ferrari. I was reading all about that. He was supposed to be a test driver for Ferrari, and then last minute he stabbed them in the back and signed with Renault because Renault offered him a seat, and he was like, Alonso will never drive for Ferrari, and that's why Raikkonen got the seat. Because Alonso was kind of the first choice.
Right.
Alonso was the first choice to replace Schumacher.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, fuck Alonso, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And then he got Raikkonen, and Raikkonen got that 2007 champ. Think about that, dude. Think about if Alonso went to
Ferrari
in 2007.
Yeah.
How his career would have differed. Instead of having to go to McLaren and being paired with Lewis. And having that, and then having the Spygate thing. Mm-hmm. That was a big what if for his fucking career. He's just had terrible luck, which he made by his own fucking behavior.
Yeah, luck. He's made his bed and then had to lie in it many times. Yeah, I just need to see him and George on a team together, though. And, I think this kid, Kimi Antonelli, might be the fucking truth. Yeah, I just can't see it going more than it's like, if they're really going to lock him down, they just got to do it. You got to give him some type of guarantees that he's going to move up. He can't be stuck at Williams for 3 years like George Russell was. I don't think a kid with this much hype is going to like really be like, yeah, I'll stick around at Williams for 3 years while Alonso does his thing. I think that other teams will come in and swipe him and pick him up. Yeah. Oh, we gotta talk about these interviews that the Ferrari lads did, where they're being asked about the Lewis shit.
Hey Carlos, you're being fired. So how's that feel?
Fred, how was it? What was it like firing Carlos? What was that conversation like?
Walk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an awkward vibe over there. Most certainly. Charles did say that he knew that Ferrari was talking to Lewis when he signed his extension, when he signed his contract. Oh, Venkers, you know this episode is brought to you by BetMGM. As you know, we've teamed up with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we have a special offer for our listeners each week. If you have not signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code RED150 and you will receive $150 in bonus bets instantly when placing your first wager of at least $5 with BetMGM. Who could you place that on? I don't know, maybe Lando Norris to win the fucking Bahrain Grand Prix. That's a bet. I'm sure that the line's pretty good on that. Here's how it works. You would download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code RED150. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive $150 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager. Just make sure that you use the bonus code RED150 when you sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the United States. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 for New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 21 and over only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customer only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM, use the bonus code RED150 and get your $150 in bonus bets when placing a $5 wager today.
Do we think he was just like, okay, or do you think he was like, or all right, where else am I gonna go? I'm gonna die here, or do you think he was like, bring his old ass in here and I will kill him. I will like great, awesome. I just like don't... irrational confidence.
But do you think it must have hurt a little bit that they were like, we're bringing in Lewis? It must have hurt. It's like yeah, we're gonna need to bring in another writer here. Yeah, exactly. We're
gonna need some rewrites here.
Hey Matt, we're gonna bring in a third host of the podcast.
Yeah, just
someone to. No, we love you. We love you and what you're doing, but we need a third. We just need a different energy in there.
But what if that host? What if it was like the lady from Call Her Daddy, where it was just like, oh my God, it's like, could you even say no at that point?
Right. Well, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, I'd be like, well, fuck, it's
Alex Cooper.
Yeah, if it's like, hey, Alex Cooper wants to join the pod, I'd be like, oh God.
But then here's the thing. Is it the Alex Cooper podcast then? And then we're just, whatever. That's the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
I mean, but that's why it makes Fred's job kind of easy, because it's just like, it wasn't the easiest conversation I had, but like, what I know what he said to Carlos. He's like, Carlos, it's Lewis Hamilton.
No,
what do you want me to do?
Hey.
And the conversation with Leclerc is, bro, it's Lewis Hamilton. Like, what, am I not going to try to get him on the team?
I know. It's just like...
Is that not going to help? And Leclerc has to go, yeah, it's fucking Lewis Hamilton. What am I supposed to say? I mean, you got to want him on... I mean, are we against winning? I mean, Leclerc can say, I am number one driver, basically, about everybody on the grid except him.
Yeah,
like,
him and Max.
He could probably veto any hire except for him.
Right.
Because Leclerc has that level of status.
I know, but it's just like, at what point is it is it detrimental to your future champion to bring in the current guy? It's like.
Well, they can't fuck him up more psychologically. Can they fuck him up more psychologically?
I don't know. Come on. Have we reached the bottom of the well? I don't know if we've reached the bottom of the well.
I don't know. I think he might be a psycho. I think we're not giving Leclerc enough credit. There's that great clip that Jenny sent us.
Yes.
Where it's panning over. It's Carlos Sainz doing a lap, and it's panning over, and it's Leclerc with his iPhone.
Yes.
And then Robert Schwartzman goes, "Are you timing his laps?"
Yeah.
On your iPhone, and then Leclerc goes, "Of course." I'm like, dude, you're so competitive, and you're so locked in, that you're timing your opponent who's now being fired's lap times, on your iPhone, like doing what I did at Coda, like just doing on your fucking like the poor man's version of doing lap times, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, that gave me some hope in terms of Charles's mentality and his.
He just might want it too bad. That's his problem. He might want it too bad where he overdrives the car. Right. But I would like to think it's because they give him such a shitty piece of equipment that he's trying to compensate. Whereas like if he was given a real rocket ship, he wouldn't need to do that. And I think I think he's probably got Lewis on Saturday. He just has to. He just has to clean up his mistakes. I think where he loses out to Lewis.
Yeah.
No, I think the reason he loses to Lewis is if he fucks up too many times because Lewis is very consistent. He's just always in the mix, always near the front, and always making up places. In the race, he's the guy in dodgeball that just doesn't get hit. Right.
Right.
And he's there in the last round.
Yeah. Let's not forget that in the epic "and through goes Hamilton" at, I believe, in Silverstone in 2022, Leclerc was fighting Perez, and Hamilton was just like sitting back watching him, letting him go. And then he double overtook both of them. That's kind of a bit more of the Lewis way.
Lewis is like, why run and fuck one cow when we can walk down and fuck them all kind of mentality with his tire maintenance,
Yeah, he's worked smarter, not harder. And I think Charles sometimes is like, it has to be difficult what I'm doing. That's why I know that I'm working. Not dissimilar from a friend of ours who is a writer as well. It's kind of
a masochistic vibe.
Just always, it has to be difficult. It has to be hard. Otherwise, it's not real or worthwhile. It's not worth it. It. The only way that I can prove that I've done it is the pain that I feel in the process of doing it. You know what I mean? That's the only proof, really, that I have. The only barometer.
Yeah, that was something because I've been like watching a lot of like lifting videos and workout YouTubes and it was like
our boy Mike Israetel, you got me onto his fucking
Mike Israetel, he's my ideal body type. I want to be 5'5", 230. That's my goal. All muscle. It's my ideal body type.
Bald as fuck. Just unit.
Bald as just be an orc. But I think, what's interesting is he's like, sometimes lifting less helps. Sometimes doing less workout helps.
Yes.
You could work out too much, and that actually affects you more. Actually, sometimes if you want to build muscle, you do less work.
Right. Yes.
Which was horrible for me to hear. I'm like, oh, I can be lazy and build muscle. Also, another thing that I learned, this was also dangerous, is that you actually... This is fucking the most dangerous news you can learn, guys.
Oh God!
You burn muscle while you're awake. Burn fat while you're asleep.
Wow.
So guys, sleep a lot.
It's all about the sleep.
It's all about the sleep.
It's all about the sleep.
Yeah. But it's not always about working hard. It's about working smart.
Right. Speaking of people who are kind of sleeping a little bit, Nick DeVries has plenty of time to sleep now that he's no longer in Formula One.
Dude, when they cut to him and Drive to Survive, I was like, stop. Stop.
Oh,
I was
the
like,
Drive
oh,
to
he's
Survive.
going to have a storyline?
Yeah,
It's like,
of course he is,
oh,
dude.
I'm Nick DeVries. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, the Nick DeVries storyline is also like it's like a T. It's like someone putting in a T, and his head is the ball, and then Daniel Ricciardo comes up with a fucking 3-wood and just smacks it, and then it's like, hey, I'm Daniel Ricciardo, and I'm a car mechanic, and I'm back, bitches. And they're like, woo.
Yeah, just Happy Gilmore's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so. I'll have to just fast forward through that whole episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal.
That's gonna be like watching 8th Grade for me. The movie
Yeah,
8th
just
Grade. It's
too
so
uncomfortable.
painful and awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick DeVries, who, if you remember, there was this whole situation happening where basically DeVries had his junior career covered by. This is what often happens in the F1 world: is that like it's so expensive to rise through the ranks that you wind up getting outside investors to pay for your junior career, and in exchange, you give them percentages of your salaries once you do reach the top levels. So basically, this guy was suing DeVries, saying, you owe me half of your salary.
Bitch better have my money.
Yeah. So the Amsterdam,
Because it wasn't because he went in 2023. It was because of it was because of Monza.
because there was that was the time limit.
That was the last year. It's like, you have till
Right.
this year to make F1. And he was like, well, you made F1 by
Yeah.
Monza. And he was like, wait, no, I did. It was just a test drive. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Half your money's fucking mine now.
Yep.
So, and then I think that makes it so half of his 2023 salary is his too. Like it
Right.
extends. Like it just activates.
Right.
So he might end up like losing money. on
Losing
this whole
money.
fucking thing.
Listen.
Yeah. He might have been better off just driving WEC cars,
Yes.
financially speaking.
Yeah. The Amsterdam District Court ruled that DeVries has to pay €250,000 loan plus interest and pay half of both his salary and any sponsorship during his partial Formula One season with AlphaTauri.
So savage.
So
Yeah.
savage.
Jesus.
The loan was
And
from
he had to pay lawyers. He had to pay lawyers to get this shitty result.
you have to pay
attorney's
lawyers, agents' fees, attorneys' fees, plus you're being taxed at a fucking high rate because you're making so much money. Listen, I was a series regular on a television show, and all that money is gone, baby, is gone. This shit goes fast because everyone's eaten up at it. The loan was from Jorian Schuthorst's company, Investorand, in 2018 when DeVries needed budget in his Prema F2 drive. He is considering an appeal to this decision. This is what Jorian said. We supported Nick at a crucial moment in his career when no one else wanted to. Damn, catching more strays.
When he was incredibly vulnerable and would have signed any piece of paper put in front of him.
Signed at any dotted line he saw before him. I am happy that the judge has now ruled in our favor, although I, of course, regret that this procedure was necessary. We would have preferred to reach an arrangement without procedures through proper consultation, but unfortunately our attempts to do so were resolutely rejected by Nick and his lawyer. Damn. It's a tough game, man. This is a fucking brutal world. I mean, as much as
I see both sides of it.
Of course, this guy spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his career.
Yeah.
And
only wanted to collect, and only was going to collect if he made F1.
Right.
And he did. In kind of an ass backwards way, but he did.
I know. It's like this was
but it was kind of a technicality because the time horizon was 2022.
Right.
So it's kind of like a technicality. He drove one race in 2022.
Right.
But guess what? That funding got him that opportunity to drive that race in 20. If it wasn't for that guy's funding, he wouldn't have won F2.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have been in the position to be a reserve driver. And then he wouldn't have gotten that chance. Someone got COVID or what happened or what the fuck happened?
Albon
almost died.
Yeah, he aspirated. Yeah, his appendix. Yeah.
Yes. and he wouldn't have gotten that Williams drive. So I mean, yeah, butterfly effect.
Right.
That guy got him that drive that
Right.
then got him that seat. It was
Yeah.
a couple of steps removed, but I see that guy's point.
Yeah.
But I also, if you got a couple $100,000 to just fucking invest in Nick DeVries,
Right.
then you
It's
can
not like you're
afford to lose
strapped
it.
for cash. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not strapped for cash. So Charles Le motherfucking Claire has come out with an album, dude. An EP. Not just single solitary songs, dude. He's coming out with a fucking catalog. He came out with an EP. It's called Dreamers. He
So what a
teamed up.
horrible title.
The
given his
titles,
circumstances.
the titles of in general are Pinterest. The first song is called Focus. The next song is called Heartbeat. The third song is called Limitless, and the fourth song is called The Dream Continues.
Yeah. The dream is never a reality.
Yeah, right. Not exactly biting titles, but he is paired up. Now, I got to give him some props here. He's understood the limit of his car, i.e. his piano playing abilities, and he has worked with this guy, Sofiane Pomart, who is a pianist and he is an established artist. He has 2.3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. He does orchestral instrumental music. And so Charles went into the studio. He was in the studio, and he came in with these with he thought they would maybe do one song. There's a whole YouTube vlog about this, and you see Charles's whole kind of process.
Do we want to watch the vlog
through
too?
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. Let's
Okay, but I also want to say that Leclerc has 298,000 monthly listeners
Yeah.
on Spotify.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been to Zebulon or I've been to a bar in LA
Yeah.
and someone tells me they're a musician. And I
Yeah.
look them up on Spotify and it's like that's what they're doing out here. They're a musician.
Right,
And I'm
right,
not
right.
trying to be like disparaging of
Yes.
what they're doing out here, but like their purpose in life is to be a musician.
Yeah.
And I go on their Spotify and it's like 3,000 monthly listens.
Right.
It's like this guy is killing it right now. Do you know what I mean? Like people in LA would kill to have 298,000 monthly listens.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy that this race car driver,
Right.
who's not even singing, he's just playing piano, has
Yeah.
298. I mean, that speaks to his star power. Is that people will listen to this fucking guy play piano.
Yes.
They don't even need to look at him.
Right. The guy does numbers.
The guy does
All right,
numbers.
We're gonna watch the vlog here.
Oh my God, he is
Where
precious
are we?
baby angel.
We're in
He needs to be
Paris.
protected at all costs.
They're in
We're
Paris.
in the studio, which is very different. Instead of playing at home, it will be the first time for me to be playing in a professional studios and with someone very special. I need to call him because I have no voice to the intro. Ouais, Sofiane, t'es où?
So classic that he doesn't know where the place is, doesn't
Yeah.
have any idea where he's going.
Yeah, he's just led places, and he. Know what's funny? This music that's playing right now is like the generic, just like orchestral music that you would play with regards. Like when Catherine does shows and she reads poetry, she plays this exact music that's playing on this thing right here, which isn't Charles's music. Okay, so this is The Dream Continues.
The guy he was titled there. He's playing with the other guy now, and his title is Piano King.
Yeah, yeah. Sofiane's name is the Piano King. So this part that's happening. This part that's about to happen because I did watch this. It's amazing that like this is what Charles. For all those L.A. musicians who maybe like know how to compose and they can write out their music and whatever. This is how Charles like has the songs in his head. This is what he does.
He's just like humming it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
humming it.
He's just going.
Well,
No.
there's a great clip. There's a great clip of Justin Bieber like trying to compose music.
Uh huh.
Have you seen this? He's in an orchestra and he's like,
Yes.
no, 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 no.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The piano, the violinists are like, they're like they're so good
Right.
that they can just interpret his bullshit
Yeah.
and make it into, and they can make Justin Bieber look like fucking tar
Right.
just by him just humming shit at them. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, he's got the fucking vision, dude. All right, so yeah, that's what Charles is giving here.
God, I love that he could just drive his way into a music career.
Yeah. Truly.
How much resentment do you think this Palmer guy has? Zero?
Well, here's
100?
the thing. I was thinking about this too, because it's like, but this guy must be a fan.
Palmer's like, oh, those chord progressions fucking suck, but whatever.
Right.
I guess I have to listen to him because he's the one that people want to listen to him more than they want to listen to me, classically trained pianist who's put in 10 billion hours.
I know.
Is there none of that? Is there none of that happening?
It would be kind of like if this guy was like a bit. It would be like if, Drake, who's an investor in stake, or even not Drake, because he's an investor. It's different. If Justin Bieber went in and was like, I think I can teach you a few things about how to take Eau Rouge.
Exactly.
You ever tried taking Eau Rouge like this?
Or yeah, it's like he has to give me a yes. Oh, it's not quite the same thing. It would be like he's driving for that weekend or something.
Right.
Like
hey, I want to
he's
drive.
doing the job that you're. Yeah, I want to drive Ferrari this week, and you're gonna help me.
Yeah.
And Leclerc's like, okay, so you got to go way faster, but just do it, but like way faster.
Right.
All right, sorry, keep going.
Yeah.
Leclerc's like watching him play the shit, and Leclerc's like, yeah, that's good too. You could do that too. That's also good. The way you just did it.
There is a theme in Leclerc's music, though, where he plays like the same note a couple of times together. Like, it's not like da 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 da. It's like da 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 da, and it's like there's something that's very kind of juvenile to that. In terms
I
of
think his music isn't bad.
It's not bad.
Thank God, dude, he has a hobby, dude. If his was all F1, he would unalive himself.
Yeah. That was amazing. Sophia, like Charles is doing the thing, and he's like, let me just take a rouge real quick.
What's the goal for today, Charles?
Sorry.
It's like a driving lesson, and the guy's like, can I just take the steering wheel really quickly? And can I have, it's like there's a steering wheel and a brake on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the videos, it's more of this, really. Charles he's so sweet. He's so nice. It's crazy. Because in the thing, he starts talking about, like, what a great piano player, like, Sofiane is. Oh, here we go.
What's the goal for today, Charles?
Sorry.
What's the goal for today?
Create a new song, which we worked on it already. I had done something at home already to get ready for that. And then once Sofiane arrived, then he managed to make all my thoughts into reality, because where I am most limited is obviously my technique and the way I play. I'm not that good, but Sofiane is the piano king, and he's so good at piano.
Can we stop for a second?
Anything I think of, he can.
Yeah.
Can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
This is like, Brian, this is like when you try to describe, this is the exact same process as when you just try to describe artwork to one of our people who draw for us.
Uh-huh.
It's the same process.
Yeah, right.
You're like, I want a car, and I want an explosion, and I want this, and I want that, and and make my vision come true.
Right. Yes.
But how much of that is your art? How much then do you become like an art director?
Yeah, I mean, especially in modern art, that's a lot of the thing these days. Like Damien Hirst is famous for like it's like everyone else. He doesn't like make his own shit. He just comes up with the ideas and like other people do it. He's like he's the conceptual person.
Even painters these days, they don't even paint their own shit. They like maybe paint one,
right,
and then they have their assistants.
Right.
That's what. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, Leclerc is Jeff Koons, is what we're trying to say.
Leclerc is Damien Hirst, dude. He's fucking
Yeah.
yeah. He's so sweet. He's just so sweet. He's like, I have these ideas.
I'm not
but,
so good at it yet, so he helps me. And
right.
But by the way, another kind of person who had an ego about it, being like,
yeah,
this is my music. Like I did this all by myself.
Right.
Wouldn't really sort of key into the fact that he had like kind of a ghostwriter.
Right.
He really put this guy front and center.
No, it's
going to
be great for this guy. I had no idea who this guy was before this. He's not like, that famous. 2 million monthly listeners is like not that crazy.
That's a lot for a guy who just plays fucking piano.
It is. He's successful, but it's not, he hasn't reached
He's
my
no
radar.
Charles Leclerc.
He's a French pianist who he does orchestral, instrumentals. So
play. So it obviously facilitate the things. And where the weekend I've got one day off, and to be spending it here in the world that I love so much, which is music, is amazing.
I mean, he's just so cute.
He's so adorable.
Yeah. And honestly,
he spends
dude,
his one day off making music.
Yeah. I gotta say,
and puts it out to the world.
The first song in this, Focus, that's my favorite song on the EP, and I feel like I've got something to contribute to it. I was a little boy in Monaco, and I wanted to go racing fast. My friend was named Pierre. He was a pretty cool guy. He had a big ego. And then I went to Ferrari. I thought my life would be amazing once I signed with the prancing horses, the prancing horses, the prancing horses, prancing on my heart. The prancing horses that now Lewis Hamilton will be a part of.
Whoa!
Why, Fred, did you do this to me? I thought we were boys from our time in F2 and F3. Oh, what is going on with my life? I need you, I want you, your Ferrari, you hate me. Why are you so mean to my life? My name is Charles Leclerc, and I have to express myself through the medium of piano with my friend Sofiane Palmerta. But there's still hope for me. With Ferrari, with me, with everyone who got me here. This song's, it's only 2.5 minutes, but it feels long. And
Jean Tot's son.
Yeah, thank you, Jean Tot's son, for plucking me out.
Maybe some of that'll rub off.
That is what I need to say. I'm Charles Leclerc, and I drive for Ferrari. There we go.
Damn.
All right, I think that's it. That's the episode, people. fucking Charles, as Charles Leclerc inspires me, man. Charles Leclerc
He's your
motherfucking
muse.
inspires me. He's my muse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's my muse? I think Alonso's my muse. I'm going to
Alonso's
go
your
out
muse.
and say whatever the fuck I want to say.
Yeah.
And just be real.
Yeah. Alonso and Mike Israetel are your
Mike Israetel.
Mike Israetel and Alonso are Matt's muses.
Dude, I've lost 9 pounds.
Dude,
I've lost 9 pounds. I lost
fucking
9 pounds.
crushing it.
On the original, on this old fashioned Ozempic, dude. The old fashioned Ozempic, which is just eating less.
Yeah. Eating less and exercising more.
Eating less and exercising more. It's an injection of less food into your fucking face.
Fuck yeah, congratulations. I'm trying to get like you, my boy. All right, Vankas.
Live show.
Get tickets to our live show now. And get our merch. We love ya.
You got link in bio. Link in
bio.
the description.
In
Link
the
in description. Link in
description.
bio. Goodbye, Vankas.
Goodbye.